Hi, I'm Diane Allen, and welcome to my new segment called Cooking with Diane. On today's show, I'm going to be sharing with you my recipe for creamy grits. My husband and I, we enjoy grits, and so today I'm just going to be sharing with you some tips on how to make them nice and creamy. So, what is my first thing that I do for my grits? Is that I'm going to be measuring out all what I use to make my grits. 2 cups of water, and I'm going to use milk. This really is what makes grits very creamy. So I'm going to be using 2 cups of milk, and you can use more or less depending on how creamy or how thick you want your grits to be. And I have a cup of grits. And to that, I'm going to be adding 4 tablespoons of butter. I like putting all my ingredients together at one time. Some people boil their water or their liquid and then add their grits. I like putting my grits and my liquids all together and let it boil, and then we're going to turn it down. So we're going to add about some salt, some kosher salt, and I'm going to add about a teaspoon of salt. And again, you can salt your grits according to your taste. And we're going to give that a nice stir. We're going to put this on the heat. We're going to bring it to a boil, and once it boils, then we're going to turn it down. But one thing about grits is that you have to constantly stir them up until a point. So we're going to put them on a flame. Put it like on medium high. We're going to bring them to a boil. And while my grits is on flame, what I'm going to have with my grits today is a topping. And that topping is going to be a kale topping. And that's going to be another healthy addition to my grits. So we're going to have grits with fish, baked fish, and a kale topping. So right now I'm going to work on my kale topping. So for my kale topping, what I'm going to be doing for my grits, I'm going to be putting some garlic, red pepper, some onions, and some red pepper flakes, as well as I'm going to be using a little bit of apple cider vinegar and some chicken broth just to simmer it all together. So we're going to put in our onions and green peppers, and we're going to put in our garlic, and we're going to saute that for a little bit, and then we're going to add our kale. I'm getting ready to add my kale to my sauteed vegetables. So I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar to our kale recipe. Another tip that you can use when you're cooking any type of greens, mainly collard greens and kale, sometimes they can be a little tough or bitter. Just add a little pinch of baking soda in it. So I just wanted to take it off the stove so you can see how creamy my grits are. and I'm not finished cooking them yet. So that's another thing about grits, that it takes a little bit more time, but you want to cook them until you really see that nice creamy silky texture. So but I wanted you to see, so far it has been coming along really, really great, looking good. So I'm going to put them back on the stove. I'm going to turn my heat down, and I'm going to put a lid on it, and let them continue to cook. So our last addition to our recipe is, along with our grits, is fish. So I have some flounder here, and normally, when you think of fish and grits, you think of frying your fish. But I thought for a healthier twist to that recipe, is that I'm going to bake my flounder instead of frying it. So what I've done is just put some olive oil, and I have paprika, and I have onion powder, garlic powder, salt and pepper, and I just have some parsley. And this is going to really be a more healthier way of eating our fish and grits. So we're going to put this into the oven and bake it at 350 for about 10 or 15 minutes, or until our fish is nice and flaky. And we'll be back. So here we are with our finished recipe of our creamy grits, and we have our kale topping. Our kale topping is with our sautéed kale. We have red bell peppers. We have some garlic in there and onions in there, and I tell you, it smells delicious and tastes delicious. And also we have our fish, our baked flounder fish, and I'm about ready to dive into this. But before I do, I am going to add one last thing, and that is we're going to add some Parmesan cheese. Now we like to get the block cheese instead of the already shredded cheese. So we're just going to shred some of that Parmesan cheese right on top. And we are done. Oh my goodness, I am ready to eat this right now. And again, I'm Diane Allen. This is me, and welcome to Cooking with Diane.